Dr. Alice Etim, Professor of Management Information Systems, conducted a mobile banking, digital payment systems, and financial technologies research June 21st at Ikot Ekpene and Uyo, two very important cities in the South-South region of Nigeria. The topic of her research was digital banking, mobile banking, payment systems, and financial technology. The work is an integral part of Dr. Etim's research on ICT adoption, diffusion, use and impact in organizations, and underserved populations, including those in developing countries. After administering a survey to bank officials in 5 commercial banks in Nigeria, Dr. Etim completed a focus group interview with some of the officials at one of the Vice Banks, Access Bank PLC, Uyo, Nigeria. The questions asked range from the bank's infrastructure spending on ICT to the adoption of digital banking products that are delivered via smartphones. Important insight from the focus group interview were that banks in the region such as Access Bank PLC, First Bank of Nigeria, and others are actively working to digitalize their products and services. The banks are practicing more inclusive activities by reaching out to the unbanked population with digital tools and services. All banks had mobile apps, debit cards, and point-of-sale systems, POS, for digital banking and payment systems. They have used the POS to actively reach the unbanked and consumers via agents in the communities, so that more people have access to bank products, services, and can make digital payments and wire transfers. Access Bank PLC, the bank group that Dr. Etim sat down with for her focus group interview, has the Access More app. Like many economies and global banking systems, the Nigeria banking system is challenged with the security of transactions, and as such, there is a heavy reliance on biometric information. One of such security identifiers is called Biometric Verification Number Identifier, BVN. There is no credit card option in South-South region. Only debit card transactions are possible. Financial technologies like cryptocurrencies are yet to be legalized both in South-South region and the entire country of Nigeria. In addition to bank apps, WhatsApp, a communication app by Facebook Meta, is being used in the region and was found to be a very useful platform of communication for all forms of business transactions.
Your customer base, like how rich is your customer base? Are you reaching like the unbanked population? So my work is to be able to see how technology, like especially like mobile technology, is being used to serve the unbanked. Yes, that's what I'm working on. I've been doing most of my work with the people. So many times when I do the study, I just talk to the people who are your customers. Does that make sense? But this time around, this is the very first study that I'm telling myself I need to talk to the bankers. And she was, Mrs. Ikot Ekpene was very, very kind and very nice to allow me to come into this area. She took up the responsibility of working with me for us to create the instrument, the questionnaire which you have already filled out. And as you've seen, there are many questions that talk about like, how many people do you supervise, and then of course, what kind of infrastructural investment, and then we're going to go into some financial technology activities or plans that the bank has, so that I can be able to, take that information, process into a more digital and statistical packaging, and write about the story for this area. That in Nigeria, especially South Nigeria, they are part of the global financial system in terms of the use of technology to service the unbanked. And this is the supply side. This is what the banks are doing. That's what I'm trying to do at this stage. So thank you so much for welcoming me to your bank, Access Bank PLC. I'm very grateful, and I really, really want to thank Madam, Mrs. Ekpene, for allowing me to come and have this focus group session with you. you've had a very long day. Very long work day. And I hope you will have a wonderful, restful evening. So I'm going to kind of ask you what you already, wrote down, to see how you all think about what, among yourself, how you assess the question. So one of the things I asked was, in question number 6, what is high priority information communication technology infrastructure spending in your bank? And I gave you about 8 or more options, like, do you see the bank going towards using funds to increase broadband? Broadband, of course, is more than just, satellite technology. It's more of infrastructure that has a lifetime, in the technology availability for the region. Does the bank have that yet, or planning to invest in that? And then how about maybe account systems in the bank? Do you all think about getting rid of everything that is not digital? Manual, filing, all the paper trail. Do you think about that as a priority for the next maybe 5 years? And then I asked about digitization of all products. So what I want to do is give blank copies to you so that you can be able to reference the questions as I'm reading or discussing the question. That way, you don't think back and say, oh, what did I say in that question? It will help to know that I can be able to refresh your memory of what the question was, and that way we can move much faster. So, yes. Okay, so.
Oh, sit down.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm very grateful. Thank you. So this question on investment in terms of infrastructure spending, question number 6. What do you all think the bank has in terms of priority? Yes, please.
So I think my last question is, I would say it's basically over banking solutions.
Okay.
That's 10.
And also the cyber security. That's the priority.
Oh, give me a second. Let me give Madam a copy. So I didn't step over this one. Okay, this is the top page. So for Access Bank, you said the one that you think has the highest priority will be what? Oh, number 6, item 6. Okay, security, okay. G. Okay. And mobile banking. Okay. So F and G. And then B. Okay. So if we were to rank that, probably security would be number 1 priority. Okay. Followed by mobile banking. Okay. And then digitization of clients' account will be like the 3rd priority. But I want to ask a question now. I'm face to face with you. I have been observing whenever I come to do the demand side, like your customers and clients, I come into the bank and just observe. You've always had the paper trail. Is that not? I was thinking maybe that would be actually your top priority, but you're putting that as 3rd in this ranking in your focus group session.
But for me, I feel like it's because when I work where everybody is digital, and because that people try to outsmart other people and want to connect with the information. Since maybe they know it's also on the cloud. Cloud. So the bank is trying to make sure that those information that is there is secure.
Okay.
Because we're going to get to that point where everything is going to be okay. Now, even this paper.
Okay.
When it gets to that point, you don't want to be losing out information to bad people.
Okay, so that's why it's a top priority. It makes sense. That's very good. Thank you for that clarification. Yes, yes.
We are also talking about the bank.
Yes.
The bank, we still have them in a good number in this part of the world. So for them to be able to have confidence in the bank with what they are getting out there, the bankers should really have to do something about this.
The security component.
How to give them confidence
Confidence,
to belong to the bank.
So what area of this is not part of the question, but given that we have the issue of security as a topic, what area of security really gets to make the bank think twice in what they want to do in terms of protecting the customer or the client? Is it because there is identity theft or violation of the client based on the use of their mobile technology, their data? Okay.
So it's pretty nice because like you mentioned on banks, it's on banks. Unfortunately, they may not even have access to even mobile phones. But then there are people that want to send money to them. They have cousins that have different parts of Nigeria. And keep asking for an account number. So then they walk into the bank and then everything now is getting to digital and so bad that down to making a simple transfer of 1,000 naira you can do it with the phone. And then having this phone, if you don't secure your phone, your account on your phone, anybody that is more educated than you may want to have access to your information on the phone. So that's why it's a gradual process. That's why you still have papers and cards.
Yes, to be able to have a backup track. Okay.
So like you said, theft as well, defensive theft as well. You can come and claim to be Mr. and do all sorts of things on that person's account. So we have to have those things.
So in the United States, many banks have this, identity that they create for their customers, not just the account numbers. So you can go in and show that identity or swipe your card or show your driver's license and then be authorized to do your transaction. So what kinds of identification do you have for your clients? Do you just use the account number information or do you have other identification or identifiers that you can use to be able to tell who is this person? Match them with the information on paper. Okay, what you call okay, I want to write those down. So there is the national ID card.
Yes.
Okay. National bank verification number. That's the BBN. Okay.
The international passport.
Okay. And there was a third one, national ID, bank verification number.
International passport.
Okay, passport. Driver's license.
What do you use over there?
But most people use the individual bank will give you like their the ID. So if you walk into that bank, you can always use that identifier.
Something like a security number.
We have what we call social security number, but it is part of your account. You probably will not ask the person to identify himself or herself with the full social security number. They may ask, what is the last 4 digits of your social security number? It's literally almost a violation of the individual if you want the person to speak out his or her social security number fully in the presence of others. Yeah, so you could ask for the last 4 digits, but every account has that number attached to it. So if, for example, I walk in and I'm, a client of this bank, when you pull my account, you will see my social security number. Yes, okay, so just like the beginning. Okay, very good. That's wonderful. Thank you. That helps a lot. We've covered much with that question. So let's move on to part 2, which is the mobile banking. I know mobile banking was like rank number 2.
Yes.
And I've been observing that mobile banking is. Oh, okay, yes. Okay. She's enjoying it. Wonderful. So mobile banking, actually, I have been observing, I arrived in Lagos and I wanted to get a snack. I walked in there to get a snack and I had cash in my hand, and they said,
You want the cash from the airport?
yeah, I just went in there and walked into the bureau in the exchange to get change, to be able to even get my luggage out of the space.
So you changed it all that.
Yes. In fact, I was so happy that they have that exchange there. So I didn't have to be in jeopardy at all. And of course, if they didn't, I would give them the dollar if they would take that. So as I'm leaving, I wanted to buy a snack. And then the lady said she needed me to pay with some card. She said, what is, swipe your card? And I was like, okay. Then I asked her, what if I give you my credit card? She said, no, we don't do credit. It doesn't work here. Because I said, oh, so you can only do the debit. She said, yes, we will do the debit transaction, but not the credit. It's not yet something we do here. And I said, so this is interesting, because in the US, you probably will be like wanting to do more of the credit than your debit. I don't remember the last time I used a debit card. I used a credit card, and I just probably pay the creditor at the end of the month when they send me the bill. And that way, I don't even think twice or worry. I just protect the card and make sure I'm keeping the card safe. I don't worry about, what is going on with the card. Like if a merchant falsely charged the card, I could dispute, and they would trace it that I didn't authorize it. So I protect myself from having my money debited in the account in the event of security theft or issues like this.
So the credit card is tied to your salary?
No, the credit card is tied to the company that issues it, and they see me as a worthy, citizen or person who can pay her bills, and so they issue me a card
Based on
my credit worthiness.
Yeah.
And there are many factors that we use to determine that credit worthiness. We call it FICO score. So there are bureaus that make sure that they assess somebody's FICO score. And that allows us to be able to determine the credit worthiness of a person. Then the credit card company can issue the credit. So I'm looking forward to when that will come into Nigeria. This is my program, my future study.
Next slide.
I get very excited about that. So I want to ask concerning
What's further?
banking. You all have apps. The Access Bank app is Access More. I read that. It just escaped my head right quickly. So, Access More. You are not the owner of the app. Somebody had to build the app for you. Okay? And you most likely partner with mobile providers so that when somebody buys a phone, probably, there is that app already built into it, or they come to the bank and you tell them, well, how to download the app. Isn't that the case? So, do you know how that works in terms of the partnership with the mobile providers? Who are you partnering with? All of them?
All of them.
All of them, like Glow?
Yes.
Etim. Okay, so they are all aware of Access More.
So
Okay.
another way you can know our partnership is on the Access More app, we have reward points. So
Okay.
if you do transactions, they give you access reward points.
Okay.
It's not physical money. So what you can do with the points, you can buy airtime from this mobile provider.
Okay.
As a way of like a partnership. Rather than using your actual money in your account, you
Uh-huh.
can use your reward points from the Access More app usage.
Okay.
Buy airtime or data from this mobile provider.
Are you doing that to encourage adoption of that Access More?
Yes.
Okay. Is it better for you that more people adopt Access More than come to the bank to do transactions?
You
Okay.
can do almost anything on your Access More.
Okay. So you can. That was the
That's
question.
more like
I asked a lot of questions. You can check account balances,
Yes.
track recent transactions, deposit checks. Can they deposit checks?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so they snap the check and then
Put the check number.
put the check number and everything. And then they can transfer money between accounts.
Yes.
And they can also transfer money to other people,
Yeah.
make payments.
Very well.
Okay, so Access More is a banking application by itself. That the people don't have to come to the bank to do the transactions.
Having your back at your hand.
It's you have the bank in your hand at all times.
That's why it's
As
called
long-
mobile banking.
Yes, yes. How much of your banking clients have adopted Access More? Like a percentage, a rough estimate of what, let's give me an estimate. When you get into meeting to talk about how Access More is doing, what do you think you can say is the percentage or rough estimate of the region you're servicing? These are quite that, especially the Unbanked, that have adopted Access More.
Okay, everyone that has a smartphone,
Okay?
everyone has
So any person that has a smartphone,
yes.
what about the 2G phones that I still see many people are still holding 2G?
Mine will be
They
compatible
use
for this
Starline
so you need to do it
Starline 011.
Okay.
Which means the bank also have an alternative. Is that how you use the assessment or you use the USSD code
Okay.
that any phone can access?
Okay, what is that?
The code.
This is a short service.
Okay, the short service, you call that USSD code. What is the meaning of USSD? I'll find out. Don't worry about
Very
that.
long.
Okay, I'll find out. Probably that used to be the first thing that they did before the before Access More came about. Okay, all right, that's good. So basically, do you have an estimate of like 50% of the population?
In South region.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more than
It's close to 85%.
85%.
It's
Oh my goodness.
part of our daily activity.
Okay. 85%.
Unstructured supplementary service data.
Okay. Thank you. So, do you have anything to add to smartphone, mobile banking in general, in terms of what we discussed? From what you told me, I think the population is your clients are catching up very quickly
For
with
those,
access.
for those that can't make use of the app, you can actually use the internet banking websites to do your transactions.
Okay.
You can download the app.
Okay.
If your phone is not compatible,
Okay.
download it.
So do internet banking, and it's basically going to do the same things, transactions. Okay. So when people do web banking, of course, it means that the customers has phones that do not support your bank's app. Okay, and then they have the internet, and then they can be able to do the same transaction. Very good. All right. Now, the last part, of course, is the financial technology, what we call Fintech. And of course, Fintech, I want to just briefly define a little bit of what it means. It means a new way of doing new digital technologies and banking together. And it couldn't be done by banks like Access Bank and financial companies that are not non-banks. And basically, it goes from what these other services that your Access Mall does, plus including cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin and more. So when we talk about fintech products, of course, and services, we are looking at including, not more than payment systems. We're talking about like blockchain. And so when you are looking at your bank, where do you stand with financial technologies, fintech? I want to make sure that I ask this broadly. Do you even think about it yet? Is it something that is in the works? Do you have partners you're talking to? Who is working with you in this region?
In terms of fintech, I think
my question there is question number 11. Like you see, I asked you, A, no interest. B, you're monitoring. C, you're participating in industry initiatives. D, you're industry leader. E, you have invested in fintech products and services. F, you're already implementing and launched fintech products in the last 3 years. G, you expect to buy technology or businesses that need to launch fintech in the next 12 months. And H, build a collaboration and partnership with one or more banks or companies. I give you a tall list to be able to give me some information. I don't want it, I hope the question has to come empty. So, did you say anything on that?
Yes, we did actually.
Okay, that's good.
I think there was still monitoring it. I mean,
That's the stage.
Okay, so it will be, you are mostly monitoring.
because the other aspect of the cryptocurrency, in Nigeria we don't accept cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
So it's,
I know.
it's banned already.
So Nigeria does not do crypto.
No, yes.
I have understanding of that. Nigeria is not open to cryptocurrency. So, do you think overall that the country is myopic about cryptocurrency or what? Okay. Okay, very good. So you are mostly monitoring. Okay. Now, those were the questions I really marked to ask you. And the other things I put in questions 12 were for you to just define the terms so that when I'm writing, I know you understood what I was asking you for from the listing, the question. Now let's go to the very last page. I put there a long table that I asked you to list and describe fintech products, but since you're mostly monitoring, I don't hopefully see much content from this. All right. So as you can see, thank you very much for participating. I did take your permission before we started the study, and the person working with me is going to capture the video of this focus group session so that I will be able to even go back and play it and get the information out, and it could be published depending on how the direction of the final research product is to be put out. So this also will be papers, publishable papers that are journal articles or part of book chapters. So it has nothing to do with you again. It is for us to be able to study and understand what is happening with financial technologies, mobile banking, and all your good apps like Access More. What are your clients doing? How are your unbanked population getting into banking because of these cool technologies? They don't like coming to waste their time in the bank. They don't even want to come because they have no transportation. But if you make the technology to be available in their phones, and the phones in their hands can become a bank for them, that is exciting for a population in this region, I'm sure. So that's why I make the trip. That's why I take the initiative to be able to hear the stories and talk about it and write about it and give the exposure to what is happening in this area. So again, I'm Dr. Alice Etim from Winston-Salem State University. Thank you so very much. Thank you. And it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate all of you for what you do. And I really, really thank Mrs. Ikot Ekpene for letting me come in to do this focus group session with you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I'm also sure that when the publication is made a recommendation that it is such that our country or the financial institution also have lay hands on the feedback.
Yes.
So I think it's also going to improve.
Yes. Yes, so basically, as you can imagine, there are many publications that have already been put out. Then most of them are not from this region.
Yeah.
There are, publications from the United States, from Europe, from Asia. So we need to be able to put out publications that are from Africa.
Yeah.
I have been doing the studies for sub-Saharan Africa, and so one of my goals, one of them is to be able to publicize what is happening to the unbanked population in this area, that they are part of the global economy and therefore needs to be recognized, they need to be heard. Their situation should be understood so that any organization that wants to come into this area can understand how to navigate and support this unbanked population. Because when you look at what Access More is doing, it's a bank. It's a bank. It's a bank.
Yes.
Somebody doesn't have to worry about how do I get off work and run to the bank to make sure that the transaction goes through before my creditor gets on my nerves, or before my child's school fees are paid. They are able to do those transactions. If they can transfer money, if they can deposit a check, they are able to do more. So Access More is a bank for them. So thank you very much. Any other question or comments before we say goodbye to each other or we close the
I was
session?
trying to ask, how can we read this if it gets published? How can we access it to read it?
Okay, when it's published, I have Mrs. Ekanem's email address.
Okay, that's fine.
I will definitely send the link to her and she can share with you. And you have my email at the bottom there. And you can always email me. I'm a public servant.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a professor, so I'm a public servant. And so you can always email me and say, how much have I been able to do with what you gave me?
Sure.
Yeah, so this is priority. I'm sent by my institution, Winston-Salem State University. So I'm going to go to work with the data that you've given me. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Maya.